Say hello to a new friend on an old road. Take a 2-lane trip of memories into mysteries unknown. Come along for the ride. Jim Hinckley's America. Jim Hinckley's America.
Today on our In Search of Lost Highways, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to take you with me on my morning walkabout and introduce you to a real little treasure here in Kingman, Arizona. It's our urban trail system, and it includes some rather historic lost highways. We're going to start here at the North Trailhead on the White Cliffs Trail System. The White Cliffs Wagon Road is the kind of the southern end of this, I guess southwest end of this trail system. The southern end would be actually the trailhead. It's a scenic overlook, by the way, down on 4th Street. You go up off Route 66, Andy Devine Avenue, and you go up towards the courthouse, and around the courthouse, continue on 4th Street. There's a beautiful parking lot. That's kind of the south end. And then to the kind of the west is the White Cliffs Wagon Road. This is actually Stockton Hill Road. And that'll be the subject of another morning walkabout. But we'll start with this. This is one of the things that makes Kingman truly special, is this urban trail system. You can see from here that we have the Elks Lodge is on the right. The driving range for the golf course is on the left. And behind me is the Cerbat Cliffs golf course. But within 2 minutes on this relatively easy trail, all of a sudden you'll find yourself in what appears to be a wilderness. I got a little bit of a late start on this morning's walkabout. I usually get out about sunrise, and you'd be surprised at the wildlife that is in this area. Deer, badger, fox, owl. Excuse me. It's a great little place to get out and do a little bit of exercise. We actually have two trail systems here. We have this, the White Cliffs Trail System, and then to the kind of the north of Kingman, right off Highway 93, where they're building the I-11 connector, is the Cerbat Foothills Recreation Area. And we've explored that a little in earlier videos, but that's where you'll find historic Beale Springs, Coyote Springs, and remnants of the mid-19th century Mojave Prescott Road, as well as a 1913 highway, and then US 466. But like I say, today we're concentrating here on the North Trailhead and heading for downtown Kingman. Believe it or not, on this trail system, you start on the North Trailhead up by the Elks Lodge, and at 2.5 miles, you're downtown Kingman. This is not a difficult trail system. Some of the trails, like going from the parking lot to Beale Springs over in the Cerbat Foothills Recreation Area, that's pretty much wheelchair accessible. Now this trail I would personally rate as moderate, where we're going today. It's not overly strenuous. You just got to take your time and watch for loose rock, because as you climb higher and higher into the mountains, a little bit of loose gravel, so just be careful. Also, if you're doing this in the warmer months, summer, do be aware of snakes, rattlesnakes specifically. I've never had any issues. I have encountered snakes, but never had a real problem. And like I say, you can see this trail system here, if you start at the north end, starts out, now, to be honest, it's pretty urban. And within just a few minutes, all of a sudden, you're on the cusp of a desert wilderness. And scattered through here are remnants of ranching activity from the 19th century and early road systems. On the other side of this hill, not only do you have the 19th century Stockton Hill Road, but you have remnants of the 1880s period Taggart Road system. And then there are some roads back here that puzzle me. I'm not sure exactly when they were put in, but sometime probably in the 1920s to 1940s period. Why they were put in, and with tremendous effort, I have absolutely no idea. And they're not easily, even when they were put in, I just can't imagine. They were not easy roads. Well, there we go. Okay. This starts getting a little bit difficult, but nothing serious. And like I say, you can see the gravel a little bit loose. Just be careful. It's a very well-marked trail system. One of the things to keep in mind here, as with all hiking, carry water. If you don't need it, someone else might that you encounter. Take your cell phone. Let somebody know where you're going and when you expect to get back. This is not a remote hiking trail system, but just the same, accidents happen. See the white marks here on the rocks? That's your trail markings. Pretty simple. As you climb higher and higher into the mountains, it seems to changes now. Off to my left, what I'm going to show you here is a beautiful box canyon. And if you look close, you'll find remnants of old corrals and line shack down in the bottom of the box canyon. One of the things I enjoy about this trail system, aside from the fact that it's perfect for sunrise and early morning walkabouts, what I really enjoy is I never tire of the scenery. It's absolutely stunning and beautiful. And this is a little bit later than I usually get out. I'm out here usually on the trails sunrise, especially during the summer. I'm out here at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, beating the heat and watching the sunrise. It's just an incredible way to start the day. The trails, like I say, are very, very well marked. The Colorado River Trail Alliance was largely responsible for these trails and working with the city of Kingman. Kingman Main Street helps do cleanups, things of that nature here. As you can see, I really, really enjoy being out here on these trails. For those familiar with Kingman, there in the distance is Radar Hill. It was a military radar installation put in the 1950s. It's now cell towers, things of that nature. But I'll give you a point of reference. That Radar Hill is just off Route 66, Andy Devine Avenue. And if you're a fan of the desert, cactus, and all that entails, you'll find all kinds of interesting things back here. One of the things I'm really happy about is the trails are kept clean. People are very respectful of the area. And it's not overly crowded. This is kind of an undiscovered little secret here in Kingman, this trail system. If you're traveling Route 66 and you want to stop and stretch your legs, check out the trail system. You can pick up, like, say, the trailhead, South Trailhead is just down on 4th Street. It's a paved parking lot with drinking fountains for you and the dog. Here's a box canyon I was talking about. This is one of them. If you look directly across, you'll see some tin. And there's an old line shack. There's some remains of corrals down in the bottom of the canyon. Now the climb here starts to get a little bit steep, but no rush. Take your time. Enjoy the scenery. As you can see, it's really, really dry. Abnormally dry. It has been for several years, but this should be a lot greener. When I took this particular hike, it was late March, and usually we've had enough rain to bring out the wildflowers. So far, at the time I was doing this, it was dry. It's gotten so worrisome, I'm afraid we're going to be hunting jerky instead of deer. If you stay on the trail, that's recommended. It not only preserves the area, but it's a lot safer. It's clear. And if you watch the trails, you can generally see snakes. Do not put your hands under rocks, and just pay attention to your surroundings. It works for the big city. It works for the desert. Isn't this gorgeous? You climb higher and higher. This is the foothills of the Cerbat Mountains. And on this particular trip, all we're going to do is climb to the summit. And then we can see the roads, the old wagon roads down below. I have walked the wagon roads on earlier videos. And then what I will do to complete this part of the series, a little bit later, we'll go down to the 4th Street Trailhead. And I will connect with this video and show you some of that'll include walking on the Taggart Road specifically. The views are extraordinary, and I don't recommend in the summer. Again, I stress this over and over again. Use common sense. Coming out here in the middle of the summer, high noon, to me, it's not pleasant. It's not comfortable. It's not enjoyable. And it can be a risk. The heat can be pretty intense. But if you come out here in the mornings, take your time, just enjoy the scenery, no rush, you'll have a wonderful time. And if you're, like, say, traveling through the Kingman area, ask about these trail systems. Check out the Jim Hinckley's America website for more information. That's jimhinckleysamerica.com. And if you do another kind of walkabout that I highly recommend is the Downtown Historic District walking tour. That walking tour is a narrated, self-guided historic district tour that also includes a section of the Stockton Hill Road, the 19th century road there. It's known as the White Cliffs Wagon Road. And the website for that is kingman.tours. It's well worth another visit. There's just ample opportunities here in Kingman to stretch your legs and keep a visit. Making it more than a day. Pretty soon we're going to have Tin Can Alley downtown, the subject of another one of our videos. On that one was our sneak peek series. Tin Can Alley will be a vintage Airstream Airbnb community down on Route 66, just about 6 blocks from the Southern Trailhead. These trail systems are very popular with day hikes and mountain bikers. Believe it or not, there is a lot of water in this area. The Cerbat Foothills Recreation Area, the trail system includes Coyote Springs, Johnson Canyon, and historic Beale Springs. Atlantic Springs, which was part of the Beale Wagon Road, is on private property. The views are spectacular, and you can imagine a sunrise. And if you can't imagine what a sunrise looks like, well, take a look at our Instagram feed. We posted some sunrise photos. We also share those and share our morning walkabouts a lot on the Jim Hinckley's America Facebook page. We're about halfway to the summit at this point, and Like I say, loose gravel is your biggest concern, but nothing serious. Taking your time. It's amazing how quickly, like I say, after you leave the parking lot, you're down there with all the golfers and the Elks Lodge, and next thing you know, within 5 minutes, you've got the solitude and the beauty of the desert. I also want to mention, if you need a little breakfast or a lunch pick-me-up and you started at the south end, or vice versa, Cerbat Foothills Golf Course. They put on a pretty good feed there. And what I do is, a lot of times if I have a meeting in downtown Kingman, or I go down and get a cold beer, some ice cream and scoops on 66, I justify it. I'll walk downtown following the trail systems. Round trip, like I say, it's about 5 miles. We're nearing the summit, just around this bend, and get into another series of box canyons. We'll have some tremendous views of the Hualapai Mountains. We'll do a story on the Hualapai Mountain Park, too. That's only 12 miles south of Kingman. That is a pine forested oasis in a sea of desert. Hualapai Mountain Resort is there. Some beautiful cabins that were built in the 1930s. Pretty rough and rustic, but interesting. Great place to camp. Miles and miles of hiking trails in the pine forest, and those get high up into the mountains. Those are perfect for summer hikes, by the way. So another reason Kingman is just ideally suited. Our climate is pretty decent, and we have access to these trailheads, and almost any season you can enjoy this country. Once we cross this ridge line, it's going to be hard. It's easy to imagine that you are in the middle of a desert wilderness. Pretty nice, pretty exciting. I'm sorry that on this video there was no real wildlife out, but that's my fault. I got started a tad bit late, and I usually do. Clear blue skies. It's my happy place. Gives you an idea of distances, trails. Now this is one of the roads that I had mentioned we'll be crossing here. I have no idea why these roads were put in. They go nowhere. Literally go nowhere. And they're not easily, they wouldn't have been easily accessed even when they were put in the 20s, 30s, or 40s. We're going to continue. We'll run along the edge of a deep box canyon. We'll climb to an overlook where I can show you the canyon floor down below. And you'll be able to see some of the old wagon roads. So this is In Search of Lost Highways. Well, kind of stretching the point a bit. We got some lost roads. Lost Highways will be another episode. We can do several of these if you enjoy them. I'd like to hear. Leave me a note in the comments, and I'll get you some more information about this and how to access the trail systems. You can always drop me a note through JimHinckley'sAmerica.com or a message on our Jim Hinckley's America Facebook page. Now you've got several options here. There's different trails branching here. We're going to take the left trail towards downtown, and a little more scenic. I like this trail a lot here. You notice the sign said White Cliffs Wagon Road Trail. That's ahead and down over the canyon. Right over there behind Radar Hill, behind those towers, those are the Hualapai Mountains. They're pretty high, like I say, pine forested. Again, pretty dry. They usually have a little snow up there in the mountains. And they've only had a couple small snows this winter. Doesn't bode well for fire season. Lots of interesting rock formations. This whole area is a photographer's paradise. Isn't this nice? And listen to the silence. Just my walking stick on the rocks. You can see why mountain bikers also enjoy this. That's something I'm not into very much. I enjoy bicycling, but mountain biking, I don't know, a bit rough. This is another deep canyon here that there's remnants of corrals and other ranching activity. But as far as I know, there's been no real ranching in this country for probably 50 years. Now it's just an urban trail system that gives the illusion of desert wilderness. There we go. This is one of the overlooks into the canyon. Isn't that beautiful? A little bit rough. I do recommend also, I know it's popular, but I like to wear jeans, long-legged pants. The brush can be a bit thick. And wear some good, sturdy hiking shoes. As you can see, it's pretty rocky, pretty rough country. And there again, just common sense, as with so many things. And I want to reiterate and say this again. Carry some water. If you don't need it, you might run into somebody that does. And it also doesn't hurt to have a cell phone handy. If you do get hurt, you want to be able to holler. But I joke a bit, even if I busted my leg out here, it's not that far to town. Isn't that gorgeous views? I never tire of this. Usually, like say early in the mornings, it's canyon floors with Cerbat. Herd of deer pretty easy. I get a lot of questions about dangerous wildlife. There are bobcats in this country. They're very elusive. I've yet to see one. I have run across tracks for mountain lion. Never seen one out here. And those are probably some of the most dangerous things to consider, but I don't really even consider them a problem. Of course, Radar Hill is our beacon. Another thing that's really nice about this, you don't have to be a wilderness survival guru. Chances of you getting lost out here are slim to none. You've got Radar Hill as a beacon. You're never more than about 2.5 miles from Kingman in any direction. So getting lost is, man, I don't know how you would do that. Anyway, this is my general morning walkabout. You can kind of get an idea why Kingman's my adopted hometown and why I'm so happy here. Because I love the desert country. I am one of the dry roasted nuts. When I first moved to this country, I'm a product of the South and the East. And when I first moved into this country in the early 1960s, I got to tell you, even as a kid, I thought this was the place they warned me about in Sunday school. But it's really grown on me. And I find it hard to imagine living any place other than the desert Southwest and Kingman area specifically. I qualify as one of the dry roasted nuts now, and I admit it. But there's some pretty panoramic vistas and views. We're almost up on top of the ridge line, and I can show you the wagon roads down below. Barrel cactus, pretty common. They've also had the courtesy of placing benches at key locations here. Now, for those familiar with Kingman, see that little building up there and a little antenna tower? That is literally on the hill above downtown Kingman, just a few blocks off Route 66. Another landmark, another reason it's so difficult to really get lost here. So no fears, no worries. It's an opportunity to discover the beauty of the desert. Pretty much a worry-free man. As we come around this corner up on the ridge line, you'll see another sign and some benches, or a bench. If you're tired, great place to rest. Right straight ahead. Barely make out the signpost. Won't take us another minute or two to get up on the ridge. Well, I hope you enjoyed this walkabout. I'd say tomorrow we'll get another episode together. Until we meet again, my friends, bye con Dios.